go. This could decide the game.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Inability as well. Turnover though by Boston. Now Simmons in transition. What a pass to MB! My goodness! Posterizes Baines and the foul.
The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show. I am your host, Dylan Davis. You can give me a follow on Twitter at DylanJD98. And today I'm joined by my co-host at _George Ryder. George, how's it going?
Was that a serious question?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. If I try not to think about the Philadelphia Phillies, things are going pretty well, I would say.
Yeah, man. So before we get started, the Phaithful Fanatics are brought to you by DSM Media, of course. So, guys, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Give us a follow on Twitter at DSM_media. Follow us on Twitch, Facebook, IG, TikTok. We're everywhere. We're on every social media platform. So follow us on everything. And let's get right to it. Let's see. I don't have a towel around here. Here, I'll use this. Okay. This is me. This is a white flag. Okay. I'm waving the white flag today because I can't. I'm done, George. I'm done. I'm finished. It's over. I'm done being a believer. I'm done being hopeful of this Philadelphia Phillies team and this organization. I'm waving the white flag officially today, August 26, 2021. Until next season begins, I'm done. I'm not falling for it anymore. They're 5 games out with just over a month of baseball or less than a month of baseball left to play. And I can't do it. I won't put myself through it anymore. I'm focusing all my attention into the Eagles, who I'm sure will somehow disappoint me, but I have lower expectations for them this season. So for a couple months, my mental health in Philadelphia sports could be a little better because somehow, ladies and gentlemen, George, I allowed a Philadelphia team to fill me up with false hope yet again. Like, this team finds a new way to lose every single night, it seems like. Whether it's on the defensive side, whether it's the bats, whether it's the manager, whether it's the bullpen blowing a game, whether it's a guy getting knocked out in the 3rd inning, they find a new way to lose. It's actually quite fascinating how they're finding ways to lose like this at this point in the season. And the reason I'm done being hopeful. I'm done buying in. I'm done trying to think with this easy schedule that they can win this division. They can win the NL East and overcome the Atlanta Braves is because earlier in the season, the pitching was putrid. We know this. Outside of Zach Wheeler, and then when he was healthy, Zach Eflin, and a little bit of Aaron Nola every couple starts. But the bullpen was blowing a record number of games. The 4 and 5 starters were a problem. They bring in Vince Velasquez, doesn't work. They bring up Spencer Howard, doesn't work. Obviously, Chase Anderson and Matt Moore don't work. Zach Eflin gets hurt. They have starting issues. The bullpen's an issue, blah, 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 right? Then they somehow find a way to put it all together for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. They go on an 8-game winning streak. They're battling back late in games. They overcome a 7-0 deficit, a 4-0 deficit. They just continue to find ways to walk games off. And the Mets start the Met, and here come the Phillies, right? The Phillies find their way up to first place in the division. And now the bats can't be hot if we lit them on fire, George. Like, do you get what I'm saying? That's just not a recipe. All those things, the consistently inconsistent Phillies, that's not a recipe for a playoff team. Being this consistently inconsistent does not spell out playoffs. It does not spell out a division title. It does not spell out a second wild card. They're cooked. I'm not allowing myself. Hold me to this standard. Everyone watching, George, hold me to this. Don't let me fall back. Don't let me fall back into it. Don't let them.
I say that all the time, and I always come back. They always bring me back.
George, I can't.
Me and Jeremy did an episode of Diamond Talk like an hour ago, and we haven't done one in like over a week. I look at the banner because we make the banner every week. It said 1 game back from the division, and I was like, "Are you serious?" This was like 2 weeks ago. We were a game back. Now we're sitting 5 back. We're dropping games like crazy. We're losing in terrible fashion. Like the one thing about like when we had Jack Fritz on, the one thing he said, he's like, now that like when we lose games, we're not losing them in like horrible fashions. Like we're just losing games, so it's a lot more enjoyable. This team's back to losing games in terrible, terrible fashion that isn't fun to watch. So right now, I'm out. I'm way out. And if we end up going into the next 2 series, we got Washington for 3, we got Arizona for 4. If we somehow go 5-2, the Braves have a hard schedule. They drop some games. Guess what? We're back in it. I'll probably be back in, but
I can't, dude. I can't allow myself.
Good. That's the thing. They're not a good team, and they're not a good baseball team. They're not good.
No, they're not, and it really stinks because for a slight second there, you think that they are. You fall into the trap where Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins are going off, where this bullpen is saving games and not blowing games, where this offense is just so electric. And then the second that they take over first place in the division, the offense disappears. The leader, the $330 million man who's doing his damn job, calls them out 2 nights ago. Calls out the rest of the lineup, calls out the rest of the team. We're wasting time. This isn't good enough. We got to get it going now. And then they perform like this against Tampa Bay at home. Tampa Bay's a great ball club. They're going to be in the running to be back in the World Series again this year. Hell, they could win it all this year. They're defensively sound. They got a solid lineup. They got a really good bullpen. But you got to at least split with them there, especially the starting pitching you got in this 2-game series at home. The Ranger Suarez start was amazing. The Zach Wheeler start, yeah, he gave up 4 runs. A lot of that was defensive effort.
Amazing.
Struck out 10, walked none. Amazing. You got to come away with a split here. The Atlanta Braves hand-fed you 2 straight losses at home against the Yankees. You have to find a way to gain some sort of ground on them. You know what you did? You lost half a game, you morons. Now you're 5 out instead of 4.5 out last night.
And that's the worst part, too, about the Padres series. You take 2 of 3. You should have swept. We lost ground. We won 2 of 3 in San Diego, and we lost half a game.
And that's my point, George. The Padres, yeah, they're slipping and they're falling down the standings right now, and they might not make the playoffs because the Cincinnati Reds may grab that last and final wild card spot. With that being said, we all view, I'm pretty sure, the San Diego Padres as a damn good ball club, especially with that offense. And that's my point about them being this way. You can't get swept in the desert by one of the worst teams in baseball, take 2 of 3, be 1 out away, 1 strike away from sweeping on the road a good offensively sound Padres team, and then come home and put out that effort in front of your home crowd. I know Tampa Bay is a really, really good team. Hell, they might even be a great team in this league. They're they're first in a really, really good AL East division right now. You got to split that series. You got to find a way, if you want to win your division, to split that series, and you just didn't. You didn't. Dude, it's just everything's not going their way. Even when you think back to the bottom of the 8th inning, think about this, George. No, I didn't see anyone tweet about it. And listen, I'm not putting down Bryce Harper. The ball was smoked to the second baseman. Not full count. He had a swing. There was nothing he could do about it, and he's been fantastic. But Rhys Hoskins, everyone was so excited that Rhys Hoskins hit that home run, right? In the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs, made it 4-4. JT Realmuto got on base to lead off that inning. So if our best player doesn't in a game where he was 2 for 3 with a 445-foot bomb and 2 walks. The one mistake he makes, he hits into a double play. If he doesn't do that, the Phillies take a 5-4 lead. And then you're probably seeing your closer come in to close out this game. But that is everything. For God's sake, Freddie Galvis, someone who, by the way, everyone's overhyping. Listen, I said I start him over Didi Gregorius. You probably have to because of the field and because Didi's just not hitting for power. He's not hitting for contact. He's a strikeout machine this year. Hopefully, Freddie can give you a little bit more than that on both sides. For God's sake, this guy that everyone's excited to see and he's supposed to be a really good glove, his first ground ball is an error. Like, nothing can go this team's way, and it's not just out of luck. It's not injury plagued. Yeah, Reese is injury plagued. Eflin, who was called up today, is somehow scratched from tonight's start with more knee soreness.
How do you even put him out there as the probable starter?
I don't know.
That's
dude.
the worst
That's what I'm
part.
saying. They're so dysfunctional. They can't get out of their own way, and it's nothing. It's no outside forces. It's nothing external that's causing this. It's all internal. It's all what they put out there. It's all decisions they're making. And they're costing themselves their first playoff appearance in over a decade.
Yeah. This is that's the worst part, is this is one of the best chances that we have to win a division title just because of how terrible everyone else is in our division, and this offense just stops. It, like, to a sudden halt, just stops. Bryce Harper's been nothing but incredible for us this year.
But everyone outside of him has fallen apart recently.
JT is somehow just not a good catcher anymore. And he just can't. He's very bad defensively. Can't really call games very well. It's like it doesn't. DD fell off a cliff. You got Bohm falling off a cliff. When Reese is healthy, he's in there. But guess what? He's not healthy. Everything is falling apart, and that's the worst part. Is our starting rotation, our bullpen was the biggest concern in the beginning of the year, right? They've been fine. They've been completely fine. The bullpen has not been terrible. The bullpen's been fine.
That's what I mean with the dysfunction.
And the starters are good, man. Like, Wheeler is nothing but awesome. Kyle Gibson's been nothing but awesome. Nola has been pretty well recently, obviously, and here we are. And we're 5 games out when we probably should be right there. But, like, honestly,
I do
want to hear your thoughts on, like, what you would have done in the Wheeler situation last night. Would you have brought him in for the 9th? Hello.
What's going on? Big play, Slay. How are we? We're getting to big play, Slay, and the Birds in a little bit here. But listen, man, that's a tough call. I'm not a Joe Girardi stan by any stretch of the imagination. I've been on this show. I've been on record ripping his decision making, and that's probably the toughest decision a manager can make. Do I pull him? Do I leave him out there? We know that Girardi has pulled guys too early this year. We know that he's left guys out there to dry and left them out there too late. Coming off of the Aaron Nola debacle in San Diego, did he learn his lesson? Now they lose the game with Zach Wheeler last night. I'm not mad at Joe Girardi today for that. I don't have the answer for you. What would Dylan Davis have done if he was the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies last night? I probably would have pulled him simply because, Wheeler was electric early on in the game. Wheeler struck out 10, walked none. He had pretty good control. However, he did allow 4 runs, and yeah, that came from the defense as well, but it was a 4-4 game. This wasn't a 1-1 game, a 0-0 game in the 9th where he's just been awesome, right? He had allowed 4 runs. And then if you do throw him out there, you had mentioned it earlier, you probably give him a short leash because his pitch count was already in the mid-90s. He gives up that leadoff base runner or that first base runner. You yank him then. But I'm not critical of Joe Girardi for that today. And I'm critical of everyone else because
yesterday was on him.
No,
right?
No.
What?
No.
It 100% was on Joe Girardi yesterday. No. Joe Girardi, once you see Yanni Diaz barrel a single off of Zach Wheeler,
that's a fair point.
That's when you pull him. You get him the hell out of there. And then not even that. There's another thing. Kiermaier comes up and hits a double. 2nd and 3rd, no outs. Zach Wheeler's pushing 100 pitches.
But my
point is, he's facing a lineup for like the 4th time around.
No, I get that. But my point is, he's your best option.
Yes.
He's your ace. He got himself into a jam. Do you try to allow him to get himself out of that jam? Because he very well could have. It's tough. You're right. I would have done it. I would have yanked him. But my point is, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback in these situations because guess what? If he does, and I'm not even just talking about yanking him after the single. A lot of people on social media and on Sports Talk Radio today are going nuts over the fact that he sent him out there, trotted him out there in the 9th to pitch.
I'm fine with that.
And my rebuttal with it all is the fact that, okay, sure. What if Joe doesn't allow him to throw in the 9th and he throws out Ian Kennedy and Ian Kennedy gives up a 3-run home run? Well, then you're all freaking out today that he should have left him out there.
Yeah.
It's very tough. I'm just going to the reason I'm going to pick my spots with getting on Joe Girardi and his decision making is because I know I'm critical of him and I know that, not everything is his fault. It's Monday morning quarterbacking with these type of situations. Listen, dude, the stuff where you allow Matt Moore and Zach Eflin to bat in the top of an inning or bottom of an inning, and then you pull them at the start of the next inning. Those are the type of deals I question. If you leave Matt Moore's ass out there too long, Rangers, think about the Ranger thing. Ranger was awesome 2 nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
He got a little bit of jam, pulls him, brings in Hector. Hector gets out of it. Archie Bradley falls apart the next inning.
Yep.
Right? So I try to pick my spots when I criticize Joe Girardi's decision-making simply because Nola and Wheeler probably on those nights, the night last night and the San Diego night, are your best options. It's tough to say. Yeah, again, 93 pitches, gave up 4 runs. He's been pitching a ton, so who knows what the wear and tear on his arm is at this point of the season. But he's a better option than Ian Kennedy probably in the 9th. Now, I get it. The rebuttal is, well, what the hell did you trade for Ian Kennedy for? You need a closer. Yeah, I know. That's why it's a hard decision to make. That's why I don't think he cost them the game. It wasn't like a decision like where, Joe, what the hell are you doing? This was this bit me in the ass, right?
I don't know.
The defense bit you in the ass.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. The defense was atrocious, as always, obviously. But, dude, I love Wheeler, and he's been pushed to the limits a lot this year, and he's gotten out of a lot of them. You're about to face one of the best lineups in baseball around again. And statistically, the 3rd time around the lineup is when things go downhill.
No, I know.
You're going to face him for the 4th time. You let up a rocket single. That was just barreled. He hit the shit out of that ball. And then you keep him in. Okay, fine. I question it. I would have pulled him right away after that. I mean, you got Ian Kennedy. You even have Hector Neris. And I know he's not the 9th inning guy anymore, but he's been solid. Even if you put in Brogdon, whatever. But I would have pulled him after that. Then he lets up a double. And I feel like Joe Girardi in that moment was like, okay, 2nd and 3rd, no outs. They probably are going to score. I need to let Wheeler get out of this himself. This is his thing. He's the ace. Let him do it. I just wouldn't have let him go as far after that single. After that single, he's done for me. I felt like it just felt like the type of situation, because it happens a lot. You put a guy in the 9th that's pushing a high pitch count, but he's doing good. He lets up a hit on the first batter, and then you get him out of there. And you get your closer in, you get your most reliable guy in there. Ian Kennedy, that is the perfect spot for him to go in, just in my opinion. You get a guy like Ian Kennedy, he's been nothing but good for you out of the pen since the first 2 appearances. And here we are, man. I also think the pitch selection 0-2 high fastball was very stupid. I don't understand. You got some pitches to throw away there, and he throws him a high fastball, and he freaking rips it.
Especially the movement he had on his cutter early.
Yes, yeah, exactly, man.
Listen, that's a fair point. Now you can question Joe Girardi's plan because what you're arguing is what kind of leash do you put out on Zach Wheeler when he heads out there in the top of the 9th? Does he give up a hit, 2 hits? Does he walk a guy? What's his leash like? And that's something I'm sitting here questioning now. Did Joe even have a freaking plan?
Probably not.
He had Ian Kennedy warming up in the 8th. Did he even have a plan where, what? Because clearly I don't think he did. When you allow Wheeler single, double, bomb, what was the plan here?
Ugh.
Okay, he gave up that hard hit single. Now I'm going to leave him out there. Okay, he gave up this hard hit double. I'm going to leave him out here. No, like there's no plan then. And that's the thing that I think you can question more than anything. I think you can question that decision over the decision of bringing him out in the 9th is what kind of plan did Girardi have with Wheeler's leash in this game? Because by the time that double comes around, he's probably around or over 100 pitches.
Yes.
In a 4-4 ball game.
He's at 100 exactly because the next batter is 0-2, and then the next one, I think I had 103 pitches or something.
So I think that's more of an argument to be made rather than the whole decision of allowing Wheeler to go out there. It's tough. I just think Joe Girardi's been to blame for a lot of these losses. He definitely played a role in the loss last night. But the defense, man.
Dude, Andrew McCutchen.
Andrew McCutchen.
What the
Listen,
hell
and here's something else I want to say to Phillies fans. Listen, I'm not the biggest Rhys Hoskins fan overall. I like Rhys. I appreciate Rhys. I think he could be the heart and soul of this team. It almost feels like when his bat's out of the lineup, he's that important to the locker room. Even though he seems like a quiet guy, I can't really read him. But
energetic.
The boos last night for him were ridiculous. When he missed that ground ball, he's freaking hurt, dude. He's out there playing with a serious groin injury that clearly is bothering him. He gives you a home run to tie the game up. Like, but he's never been good in the field, and I think it carried over from that. But come on, dude.
Are you talking about the ground ball that he dove for, made it 2-1?
He missed 2 ground balls. There was one that was a terrible dive attempt, and then there was one that was a hard hit grounder that he tried to like scoop on one knee and it got past him. They booed the hell out of him on one or both of the attempts, and I thought it was messed up.
The dive attempt, because like on TV, like
I think he hurt his groin.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I watched. It was like I was watching it and I saw him dive, and I was like, he literally didn't move vertically. Like he just kind of like fell, and I was like, obviously his groin is like
you could see it from when Freddie pulled him off the bag.
He gets up and he limps, and it's like, okay, he obviously hurt his groin. If he was healthy, that ball hits his glove, and guess what? He has a groin injury. That groin injury, you can't move like that. And he fell apart. He literally fell, and then he goes in the 8th and he hits a bomb on a messed up groin.
And
I love Reese.
And you saw it in the top of the first when Freddie pulled him off the bag with the error. The way he had to come off the bag, and you kind of just saw him try to alleviate the pressure on whatever side whatever leg that side of his groin's bothering him. It's not easy for him. So listen, you got to hold these guys accountable. I'm all for it. I probably wouldn't have booed Rhys Hoskins for a fielding error last night when he's out there on one leg. You want to boo someone? How about you boo? And I love him too. I love his personality. I love everything about him. How about you boo Andrew McCutchen when he drops a routine line drive fly ball yet again this year? How about you boo everyone's fan favorite who's batting like a 218 now and is awful in the field and Bamboo Brad? How about you boo someone like that maybe? How about you boo Luke Williams who shouldn't even be out there? How about the other night when Odubel Herrera doesn't cut the ball off and it lets the ball get under his glove to the wall for 2 runs? How about you boo that shit?
How about
not dude that's out there on one leg trying to get you guys to a postseason? No offense. How about you boo the catcher who, I'm sorry, just isn't good enough in the batter's box? He's not consistently enough
in the batter's box. He's not even that good behind the plate anymore, which is the scariest part. His defense has gone down this year. The way he calls games has gone down. Like everything about the way that JT has been behind the plate this year is very scary. It's so scary.
Every once in a while, he gets hot and he has a 3-4 game with 2 doubles. He sends one oppo field. He gets a hold of one. He looks good for a couple games in a row. We saw it during their hot streak when he started to catch on fire. But consistent, he's not consistent enough in the batter's box. He's not good enough with the bat in his hands. And that's an issue. I also don't think, and another thing with Girardi is where does he put him? He's always got him. He should never be your cleanup hitter. And the other night he was in the 4 hole. I don't love him in the 2 hole either. I really don't. I don't have the counter. I like JT probably in the middle of my lineup. I'd probably have JT around 5.
I like him at 5. I agree.
I like a couple years ago when they put this roster together for the first time. That was my favorite lineup. Was McCutchen leadoff which again, he can't be in that role now, it seems like anyway. But
He was so good when he was
it was
healthy.
Kutch leadoff.
So good.
Kutch, Segura, Harper, Hoskins, JT, DD6, and then you had to figure out 7 and 8. That was my favorite lineup. Now, Kutch, we don't know if he can lead off anymore. You know what I mean? Reese seemed to really struggle in that 4-hole for a large period of this season. So, yeah, I know there's moving pieces, but you got to figure it out somehow. JT Realmuto should never be your cleanup hitter. Ever. No. So, it's all really frustrating to me. You know, we covered that. We covered the Joe Girardi decision. The news today, Rhys Hoskins is back on the IL for the next 10 days. Zach Eflin was called up today. He was supposed to play tonight. He's scratched after the lineup was released. Matt Moore starting tonight, which does not make me feel confident, even against the bad Arizona Diamondbacks team. I believe Jose Alvarado is back from the IL. I believe I saw that. I could be wrong. Could be mistaken on that tweet.
Oh, he is. He is back. He's back.
Sir Anthony continues to progress in the minors. Who knows if you'll get him towards the end of the season. Listen, man.
He's looked good.
I want to have hope. Because the things that you needed to turn around the deadline, they turned around. The starting pitching has turned it up. The bullpen has been fine. They're getting a little healthier. And now the most consistent thing on this roster has gone down the shitter. And that being this lineup. Like I said earlier, they couldn't be hot if we lit them on fire. They are struggling right now. Now Reese goes back down hurt. Do you play Didi? Do you play Freddie? Do you put Freddie in the outfield? Who the hell knows what you do? And I think the last thing I wanted, dude, they've lost the last 6 combined Nola and Wheeler starts.
Yep.
If that just doesn't sum up this year perfectly, I don't know what does.
That was the consistent.
That was the consistent. You know, okay, the 3 through 5 pitchers. If you can win a game or go 2-1 out of those, but the Wheeler Nola starts, you got to win, especially at home later down the stretch trying to make a pennant run. And they've lost the last 6 combined starts between the 2 of those guys. It's a problem, and I can't buy in anymore. So as we wrap this up, this is a towel. This is a flag. I'm waving the white flag today. I can no longer, there it is. I can no longer be hopeful. I can no longer buy in to the fool's gold that is the Philadelphia Phillies in 2021. Who knows? They'll probably sweep. It's a 4-game set against the Diamondbacks, right?
Yep.
They'll take all 4. The Braves will lose against I'm pretty sure the Braves had the Dodgers and the Giants coming up. So in a week from now, they could be 2 games out of first place. I can't allow myself. I need you guys. I need George to hold me. George probably the last person that's going to hold me accountable.
Why are you asking me? He's buying so easily.
The Phils are going to win tonight, and he's going to say the Phils are back. But you guys, I cannot, for my own sanity, I cannot believe in this team anymore. And I don't think you guys should either. But
no, mean, it's coming to the point because it's not going to come down to the last series. It's going to be these next few series, the next 3-4 series, that'll decide it. That's it.
That it will. All right, man. Let's move on here to the team I just posted in the background. That being the Philadelphia Eagles, the Birds. Training camp is a wrap. Woo! Preseason finale tomorrow night against the Jets on the road. And then about 2 weeks from the opener in Atlanta on September 12th. But George, the Birds have had another successful joint practice week. We heard the rumors, we read the reports, saw the videos that came out and transpired against the Patriots in the joint practices last week. The Eagles won both days on both ends of the ball. We know the story in the preseason game last Thursday. Our 2s and 3s versus their 1s in the first half. We get all that. Fast forward, they travel to New York or North Jersey, whatever you want to call it, wherever the hell the Jets play. And they joint practice with the Jets this week. Reports, videos, everything. The Eagles won both days on both sides of the ball against the Jets, going 4-0 in their joint practices. And then, like I said, the preseason finale is tomorrow night since there only are 3 games in the preseason this year with the extra in the regular season. anything stick out to you? Any videos, any highlights, any reports that you've taken away from the 2 days of practices against the Jets that you want to talk about?
I think it's awesome to see Hurts connecting deep with these young receivers. I love that we went into the camp. Obviously, the one concern about Jalen Hurts is his arm, and obviously he does have work to do. There's no disagreeing with that. But he looked pretty good, and he's thrown touchdowns. He limited the picks. I think he had 22 touchdowns, 6 picks, something around there. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing for me is like if Jalen Hurts' arm is at least like a little better than last year, if you combine that with the receivers you got, they're so fast. Things could look a lot better on offense. Things are going to be fun on offense because we're not expecting the sky the limit type thing this year. We want to have a fun offense.
Growth.
I want growth. I want a fun team. I want this offense to stay in games. I want to be entertaining to watch. So if Jalen Hurts can use his arm with his legs, it'll be a lot better. So I like how Jalen Hurts has been connecting deep with guys too. They love to see that.
For sure. And I think the one intriguing aspect of that is he's connecting on these 30, 40, 50-yard routes with multiple guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's connecting with Devontae Smith. He's connecting with Jalen Reagor. He's connecting with Quez Watkins. He's connecting with Zach Ertz for a 40-yard catch against the Jets. He's connecting with Dallas Goedert down the field. He's connecting with everybody down the field. He connected with Travis Fulgham for like a 40-yard grab against the Jets. So that's a positive thought there as well. I think one thing that's been sticking out to me, again, it's joint practices. We can't see it all. It's against the Jets defense, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But the red zone work that he got this week and last week against the Patriots, apparently he's been very good in the red zone. I think last week against the Patriots, he was 16 to 17 in the red zone work. This week, I forget what the numbers were, but you read them. He was fantastic in the red zone again. We saw his connection. Was it Devontae Smith or Jalen Reagor when he did the little dance afterwards?
I think it was Smith.
But yeah, that's all great to hear. And like I said, just growth and competitiveness and competition throughout this team being fun and entertaining to watch is all I can ask for this year. It's fresh. It's new. It's a new regime. It's a young core. It's all hopefully going to be fun. The thing with Jalen Hurts is what I love from what I'm hearing, and I've said it since the beginning of training camp from day 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, is the fact that it seems like he's getting better from day to day and throughout the day in practices, meaning on Tuesday, he was better than he was on Monday. On Wednesday, he's better than he was on Tuesday. Also, on Tuesday, he gets better as the day progresses. On Wednesday, he's getting better as the day progresses. So that's something that I really like to hear. I'll throw it to the other end, the other side of the ball, and in the trenches for you. The defensive line, we haven't seen them work a lot. They're a veteran group led by Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave. Ryan Kerrigan hasn't seen a lot of the field, but he will. Obviously, Barnett and Sweat are some of the younger guys. Milton Williams, a rookie. We haven't seen a lot of them in game action and throughout the first 2 preseason games. But everything you hear from them going against the Eagles, their own teammates, and then them against the Pats and the Jets are that this defensive line is feasting. That they are the best part of this team, the best part of this defense. And I think, we kind of expected that because they've been the best part of this defense for years now. But hearing the rumors of Milton Williams, hearing the rumors of Javon Hargrave when he's healthy, hearing the rumors of Josh Sweat dominating, hearing the rumors of Fletcher Cox looking rejuvenated, and them just wreaking havoc and causing pressure, stopping the run, filling gaps, is what I love to see. And because I bring that up to you because we all know how talented this defensive line can be. We all know that they're going to be a top 5 team in sacks this year. They were top 3 in sacks for a large portion of last year, but they've never had a second. It was always, we got to get after it because our secondary can't hold for 3 seconds.
Yep.
This year, when you put back there Ant Harris, Darius Slay, Steve Nelson, Rodney McLeod when he comes back from injury. Now you have something because this defensive line that's causing so much pressure and is really good against the run doesn't need to get after it like that because they have a secondary that can play in coverage. So what have you been hearing about the defensive line as well? And just what are your thoughts heading into the final preseason game and regular season with them?
Well, it's the same thing as last year. Like, we know how good this defensive line is. They've been good for years. They were good last year. And that was the biggest part of our defense last year was this D-line because our secondary was absolutely terrible. This year, you add some guys to the secondary. You add Steven Nelson. You add Anthony Harris. Now you're telling teams, yo, you're not going to run the ball. Like, you're going to have to throw the ball now, too. Like, you got to throw the ball. This D-line's going to feast. This D-line's going to get to you. What was that? Did you sigh?
Reese Hoskins says he's done for the season. He's getting abdominal surgery next week.
Oh, man. That's just
not on topic, but yeah, it took the sales out of me.
That sucks. That actually,
at least let's just state what it is real quick. It's good that this probably happened because this team won't ruin this young man's the rest of his career because they're trying to play him out there 5 games back with a bad injury. B, probably means I don't have any more false hope because this lineup misses a big chunk with
this lineup is a lot worse without Reese in it. So yeah, that changes a lot. But yeah, well, going back to the D line. I mean, it's pretty much everything you expected, right? This D line is on paper. They showed you last year. They added Ryan Kerrigan, and you haven't even seen Kerrigan a lot yet. I know
I'm excited to see.
Oh, very excited. I know he's a veteran. I know he's older in age, but he's been nothing but solid throughout his career. Even at an older age, even in Washington, he was good. So there's nothing but excitement for this D-line. And if the secondary can hold up, like, we're going to be in some close battles. We're going to have some good games. We're going to be in close games. So because nobody's going to run on us. They're not going to run the ball down our throats. Nobody's
haven't been able to for a long, long time.
Exactly. And they're not going to do it this year. This year's no different. So if you force them to throw the ball and you break up some passes, you guys do better than you did last year because you have the guys out there that can do it.
How about some takeaways?
Me?
No, I'm saying, how about this team?
Some picks.
Some takeaways.
How about some interceptions? That would be awesome if you could.
Something they lacked dearly last year.
The lack of interceptions last year was laughable. So yeah, I am a lot more excited about this defense this year than I think anybody was last year. It'll be good. It's good for this team.
I agree. And the last thing on the defensive line and the depth, because we're going to get into depth in a second with this team because they're paper thin. Outside of the trenches, they're paper thin. Like, I think they have a pretty deep offensive line. I think they have some guys on the defensive line, especially on the outside of the defensive line. You brought up the Kerrigan snaps and that thing. Yeah, he's getting older. So is Fletcher Cox. So is Brandon Graham. The beautiful thing is, and Phil here from Training for 4 Quarters and Fairway to Heaven here with us at DSM, he's pointed out multiple times that the Super Bowl year, why Fletcher Cox in this defensive line was so dominant was their rotation, and Fletcher Cox and I think Brandon Graham only played 50-some% of the snaps or something like that. 60-some% of the snaps, whereas last year and I think the year before that, they're up there in the 80% snaps, 86% snaps. Okay, so less usage equals more production from them. I would hope when you add in an aging Ryan Kerrigan, that can help for him. You got young guys like Derek Barnett, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but also Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, that can come in and fill those holes as well. So I'm excited for that. But outside of the defensive line and offensive line, I think they're paper thin. So let's transition into tomorrow night's matchup. Kind of what we're looking to see. This year's different because it's the first year with one less preseason game. There's only 3 this year, so this is the final one. It leaves a little over 2 weeks until the opener. Normally in the final preseason game, you don't see any of the starters, not a single soul. What are you expecting to see tomorrow night for the fact that Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni clearly holds these joint practices to a high standard, and he loves what he gets out of them, maybe more so than what he likes to see out of the preseason games. But I still think in a small fraction, these real in-game snaps are important for this young cohort and for Jalen Hurts. Do we see Jalen Hurts tomorrow night? Do we see the starting offensive line? Do we see the defensive line? What do we see tomorrow night, George? And how long? Maybe two series like we saw. That's all he's got.
Yeah.
And so if he doesn't play tomorrow night, in totality, Jalen Hurts will have played 2 series in 3 preseason games with a new system in place. That's scary.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing. It's weird because nobody's gone through this yet. It's 3 preseason games. It's not 4. If I can't speak for him, but if I was there, I feel like you give the starters at least one quarter. I mean, that's what I would do. I think we
The
give them
issue
one.
is you don't want to run the risk. You don't want to be
No, I
those
know.
idiots that loses your
know.
starting quarterback or a key player in the final preseason game.
I just don't feel comfortable not playing anybody at all in the no. It's the third game, so it's weird because you always have one more after this, and you don't this time. Put him in for 2 series. I would give him something because real snaps, real time playing on the field. You're at a real stadium. It's a lot different than joint practices, and we've seen them in joint practices. You know how everyone has looked. Being in a stadium, real time snaps, fans in the crowd. It's different.
Game speed, man. It's different.
Game speed, exactly. And if I were there, I'm thinking at least two series maybe. I don't think I'd feel comfortable just having no starters play. What about you? Because I would not.
I don't feel comfortable either, but I don't mind the philosophy of let's just get them all healthy to the starting line and see what we can do from there. But I agree with you though, man. Like I said, if he doesn't play, he's played in 2 series in 3 preseason games. And he didn't have a preseason last year with a new system in place, with new weapons in place. I don't know if you can do that, but it's all going to be a domino effect because what did you see last week, George? Jalen Hurts is a late scratch. Well, not playing my offensive line then.
Yep.
Well, not only, do you not want to get your quarterback and Jalen Hurts injured in the last preseason game, what about Lane Johnson? What about Brandon Brooks, Jason Kelsey? Do you want to run the risk of them getting injured in the final preseason game? And if you don't play them, well, then reversely, you're not playing Jalen Hurts either because you're not putting him behind the backup offensive line. So I don't know what he does. I would have to assume, I agree with you. I don't think I would say a quarter. I would say, depending on the length of the series, 2 to 3 series. If they get 2 good, decent to long sized series in, that's fine. If they're 2 3 and outs or 1 first down over 2 series, I might throw them out there, or some of them, maybe just Lane, Kelsey, and Mailata, not Brandon Brooks out there for a 3rd series, see what they can do just to get that real game speed and game reps in. It's a tough decision. And obviously, as Eagles fans, I think we're okay waiting to week 1 because we just want them to be healthy. But at the same time, think about how boring last week's preseason game was. And we just want to see, just for half a minute, of this new look team. To go through that again would suck.
I get that, definitely, because that last week was brutal. It was not fun at all. But you can't even take that in the heart, I guess. Like, especially
that's put on the back burner. That's
back burner. You can't even put that to heart. Like, you got to do what's best for your guys. And I think either way, if you put them in for 2 series, 3 series, if you don't play them at all, I'm okay with it, whatever they decide. I really am. If they don't play, then they feel comfortable enough that Jalen Hurts and this offensive line is going to be okay to go into week 1 in Atlanta. If they give them 2 or 3 series, they just want to give them, I guess, shake some rust off, get them in there. This is the last type of preseason game you're going to get, and then we're into Atlanta, and it's full force, and you're right in there. So I don't know what to expect because we haven't heard anything either. No. They haven't even said anything. So hopefully everybody stays healthy if they do play, and if they don't play, hopefully everyone's good to go.
I agree. It's a tough decision. Look, we talked about Joe Girardi's decision making in the first half of the show and how tough it is. And I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions and be that guy. I'm glad I'm not Howie Roseman and this staff right now and having to make this decision because guess what, George? If Jalen Hurts doesn't somehow show up to the stadium with a stomach bug or a stomach ache or whatever it was, and they play last week, this conversation is not being had because they want to be playing tomorrow night. But the fact that happened and it happened so late on game day, you have to wonder, is he going to see the field? Are they going to see the field tomorrow night? I wouldn't be surprised if 95% of the defense doesn't see the field.
Yep. It's kind of
they are a veteran group. The defensive scheme, they probably already have down. The offense is going to have a lot more wrinkles in it, a lot more, to know and to learn and to go over than the defense is. I wouldn't be. I don't know if I would play any of the main guys on defense tomorrow night at all, and I would probably run the starters on offense out there for 2 to 3 series. That would be what I would do.
I completely agree with you. That's exactly what I would do. I would feel uncomfortable not throwing the O-line and Hurts in there for 2 to 3 drive or series at least. Like that's just me though. I think them playing like very minimum time in the preseason is a little scary. Obviously, injuries are very scary, and you're going to look like an idiot if you throw them out there in the final preseason game and someone gets hurt. Whether it's someone on their line, whether it's Hurts, whether it's
exactly
anybody.
Because in everyone's mind, you just have injuries like being these contact things, right? So, you just tell Jalen slightest, sight of smell, taste of pressure, you throw the ball away. Don't get hit, blah, 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 right? But that's not the case. That's not the case with Devontae Smith's going to play, but you know what I mean? Like his knee. It's not the case with Brandon Brooks or Lane Johnson's lower body when they're backpedaling and having to have contact every play and every snap. Non-contact injuries happen all the time, and that's, I think, what I'm most fearful of. But listen, man, if they can't get now that I'm thinking about it, you can't have that mentality, to be honest with you. Because if you have that mentality, I get it. It would look really bad and stupid to lose your quarterback or an important key player in the final preseason game. But if they can't get through 2-3 series of a game, well, now they have to play 17 full regular games, at full speed. So, like, you run that risk, I guess, because they do need those reps. If your reasoning is, they could get hurt, I agree with you, and it would suck. But in 2 weeks they start a 17-game, stretch.
You can get hurt in any game,
right? Where they have to play the full game, not 2 to 3 series. So
yeah,
I think I would do it for 2 to 3 series. Just get that reps. You can't be scared. You can't be scared in this league. Obviously, if it was a 4th preseason game, yeah, you don't put them out there in the 4th preseason game 6 days before the opener, 7 days before the opener. But it's not the case. It's literally 16 days before the Eagles play a regular season game. So
we're right there. Isn't that crazy? Say that again. How many days?
Well, it's 17 from today. We are, I believe, this is a Thursday show, 2 weeks from the Tampa Bay Dallas season opener on Thursday Night Football.
We're right there.
So we are extremely, extremely close. And that's going to wrap up the last training camp / preseason edition of the Phaithful Phanatics show. As always, I'm your host, Dylan Davis. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to, at DylanJD98. My co-host for today, at George Ryder. And we are brought to you by Team DSM Media. So give us a follow on Twitter at DSM_media. Follow us on TikTok, IG, Twitch. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook. We are on every social media platform. I believe it's not set in stone, but DSM Fantasy Football Draft will be live streamed on Sunday. We may or may not be raffling off a Devontae Smith jersey that we were supposed to give away at the open practice tailgate that got rained out. So stay tapped into our Twitter page for that if we're going to be doing that then or at another time. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and go Birds.